What would you say, Steve Coll, is driving President Obama's intervention?
I think he was advised last week that there was a serious danger that the Islamic State could attack Erbil and, if not conquer it, certainly create a nasty fight in the city. And that combined with the humanitarian crisis on Mount Sinjar caused him to act after a long period of being reluctant to do so.
But do you think that in a way, oil was the driver?
Well, I think it was interesting in that clip you played where President Obama was explaining his decision. No, I don't think oil was the driver, but I thought it was unseemly for the United States to announce this momentous decision. After all, the president came to power promising to end the Iraq War, and it's a very important moment for him to decide to go back to combat without acknowledging that the reason there were thousands of Americans in Erbil who had to be protected from the possibility of the Islamic State entering the city is because Kurdish success, Kurdish independence, all of the qualities your correspondent described, rely on oil production. It is the site of about 300,000 barrels a day of oil production, and the Americans are there, along with many people from around the world, to get that oil out of the ground. And given how poorly we were served by our political leaders in 2003 as they explained the reasons for going to war, I just felt that it was sort of unseemly not to sort of maintain silence about the fact that oil is at the center of the Kurdish dilemma.
And you've called it absolutely the oil man's town. I mean, just how disastrous. I mean, presumably it'd be totally disastrous if IS got their hands on it.
Well, and it's not just Erbil, but to the south in Kirkuk, where the oil fields are located, and where I think the Islamic State has probably designs that are even more ardent than on Erbil, because that is an area that has historically been disputed between Iraqi Arabs and Kurds. And it may be easier for the Islamic State to build support in attacking oil fields and capturing some of that oil production.
But isn't it ironic that we have, Barack Obama calling now for this government, a new government of unity in Iraq, and backing the new prime minister against the outgoing Nouri al-Maliki, at the same time beefing up Iraqi Kurdistan to the point where quite possibly America's idea that it would become an independent nation, therefore undermining the whole idea of a united Iraq.
Well, this has been a strain, you're dead right, and this has been a fault line in American policy really going back to the Bush administration, because the premise of the policy has been to promote unified Iraqi constitutional government in Baghdad, multi-sectarian power sharing, sharing oil revenue. And at the same time, American policy has passively allowed Kurdistan, because it's been successful and stable, to build up independent wealth, independent oil contracts. Now they're pursuing independent sales of oil abroad. And so at the very time that American policy seeks to stitch Iraq together under great pressure, it is also supporting Kurdistan, which has been tugging at the seams of Iraqi unity for quite some time.
Steve Coll, thank you for joining us.